Good morning, everybody. So we'll start our session today. Before that, I would like to point out for you 2 points of order. One, that we discussed this morning in the Bureau and about the time limit for every for the speakers, and we raised the time for 4 minutes for the committee members. 4 minutes for the committee members. Second thing that I have noticed yesterday that some of the delegation held a meeting in this room, and when they sit, they give us their back. We are one of the United Nations family, and according to the custom in the United Nations meeting, nobody can give their back to the podium. So we are trying to help the people, and somebody held a meeting inside, and this I will not allow it from now on. Please, I just want everybody to respect these rules. Nobody give us their back during the session, and nobody give us their back during the session. Anybody will do this, I will be complained to stop the session, and they must leave us and complete their discussion and then come back, please. Now, also, before we start our agenda, I will give the NGOs from where? One observer from Belize. She came especially for this session. I think she is 12 years old. She wants to speak to you about the decision of yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am Madison Pearl, a 12-year-old Belizean. I'm here before you not only as a symbol of the future, but as part of a proud nation entrusted with safeguarding the Belize Barrier Reef system. The people of my country have shown great passion in defending our livelihood against threats to our World Heritage Site. I thank the government of Belize for listening to us and taking the necessary steps towards our site's removal from the list of World Heritage in danger. I dream of a Belize where we redefine our culture through education to include a deeper connection to nature and its value. A brave Belize inspiring change all over the world. We may be a small nation, but me being here today proves that it's the size of our courage and commitment that matters. I would like to respectfully encourage representatives of each country present to think of my generation in decision-making regarding our World Heritage Sites. Our barrier reef and our planet depend on it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Also, I have noticed that still there is a people who stand and give us their back during the session. So I will be obliged to send them back or out of the meeting if there is anybody sit like that. Really, it's not in the custom of our United Nations organization. If you need me to speak in any other language, I can tell you also in any other language. Please, don't give us your back when you sit. Thank you very much. So I invite now Mr. Guy Debanet to present the report on the state of conservation on the natural properties located in Africa region and opened for discussion. You have the floor.
Madam Chair, I think we still have to first have the reports that were not open for discussion on the Latin America region. Just to read the report. So there was one report that was not open for discussion on Latin America, which is Rio Platana Reserve in Honduras.
Thank you very much. So we adopt the decision.
Thank you. So the first site of the Africa region is the Manovo-Gundas in Flores National Park in the Central African Republic. The report can be found in your working document 7A add on page 71 of the English version and page 74 of the French version. The situation of this property, which has been on the list of World Heritage Endangered since 1997, remains critical. A census done in 2017 again confirms the continuing erosion of the wildlife populations. Elephants, which were estimated at around 5,000 animals at the time of inscription, have now completely disappeared. All other populations of large mammals show further declines compared to the previous inventories in 2005 and 2010. During the census, numerous illegal activities were also documented, including the presence of cattle, poacher camps and artisanal mining sites. Nevertheless, the census also confirmed that the habitat of the park is still largely intact. It's therefore considered that if illegal activities could be curbed, remaining wildlife populations could probably still rebound, although some species would have to be brought back through translocations. While the security situation remains problematic, it has improved slightly over the last year, allowing some conservation activities through the EU-funded Ecophone project to restart in the region. The State Party in its report also notes that the management agreement between the government and the conservation NGO Wildlife Conservation Society is currently being negotiated, giving the management responsibility of the site to WCS for an extended period of time. If the security situation remains stable, this could be a unique window of opportunity to prevent the loss of the outstanding universal value and to start an ambitious rehabilitation program for the property. It is therefore a priority that the reactive monitoring mission is organized as soon as possible. The draft decision also raises concern about the planned rehabilitation of a road crossing the property to be funded by the World Bank and the French Development Bank. Opening up this road will improve the accessibility to the site and could further aggravate the threats. In addition to formal exchanges with the State Party, which are mentioned in the report, the World Heritage Center and IUCN have been in contact with the World Bank and the IFD, who have agreed to involve the Center and IUCN in the preparation of the terms of reference of the environmental impact assessment, and who have also ensured us that the EIA will investigate also other possible alignments of the road. Given the critical situation of this property, it is recommended that the committee maintain the property on the list of World Heritage in danger and continue to apply the reinforced monitoring mechanism. The draft decision 42.7A45 can be found in your working document on page 73 in the English and 76 in the French version. And IUCN also has some comments on this report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. IUCN, please.
Merci Madame la Présidente. L'état de conservation du parc national de Manovo-Gundas-Saint-Floris demeure une forte préoccupation pour l'IUCN. En effet, les populations de grands mammifères du bien continuent de diminuer de manière drastique, mettant en cause sa valeur universelle exceptionnelle déjà fortement dégradée. Les activités illégales persistent encore sur le bien et risquent de s'aggraver si le tracé actuel du projet de réhabilitation de la route numéro 8 traversant le parc est réalisé. Madame la Présidente, malgré que la situation actuelle du bien reste inquiétante, il y a quand même de l'espoir d'améliorer progressivement sa gestion à travers la mise en place d'un partenariat public-privé entre la Wildlife Service Conservation et l'État partie. Le fait que l'inventaire de 2017 ait conclu que les habitats du bien restent largement intacts est également encourageant. Il est donc important que la mission conjointe de suivi réactif Centre du patrimoine mondial UCN se rende urgemment sur le bien, comme demandé par le comité depuis plusieurs années, afin de déterminer s'il est encore possible de restaurer sa valeur universelle exceptionnelle. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much. Ikram? No. Okay. So I would like to know if there is any comments or inquiries. No. So now I invite you to adopt the draft decision 42-7A 45 concerning the property. But before that, we have to ask our reporter, do you have any amendments?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I wish a good morning to all colleagues. We didn't receive any amendments to this draft decision. Thank you.
So I therefore declare draft decision 42-7A 45 adopted. So now I give the floor to Mr. Deponay to continue his report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next property is the Mount Nimba Strict Nature Reserve, a transboundary site between Côte d'Ivoire and Guinea. The report can be found in your working document 7A Ad on page 74 in English and 77 in French. The State Party of Côte d'Ivoire in its report notes that it has been able to obtain project funding to support the management activities in its side of the property for the next 5 years. Unfortunately, the report of the State Party of Guinea includes little information on the current situation in the property and seems to refer mostly to outdated information. The World Heritage Center and IUCN were also contacted by the mining company Société des Mines de Fer de Guinée, which holds the mining concession situated in the mining enclave of the property. The company informed us that with the rising prices of iron ore, the mining project could be revived soon, and that it counts finalizing the EIA for the project in 2019. Given the geographical situation of this project, located in an enclave surrounded by the property, it will be of utmost importance for the EIA to carefully review the potential impact of this property on the outstanding universal value. In addition, it is important to note that at least one other mining concession is located just outside the property. Hence the importance to review the cumulative impacts of these different projects through a strategic environmental assessment. It is therefore timely that the draft decision proposes that the joint World Heritage Center IUCN reactive monitoring mission is organized to this property, which will allow to review the current status of the mining projects. It is also recommended that the committee maintains the property on the list of World Heritage in danger. The draft decision 42-7A 46 can be found in the working document 7A Ad on page 77 of the English and page 80 of the French version. And IUCN also has some further comments on this property. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, please.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Les avancées réalisées par l'État partie de la Côte d'Ivoire dans la gestion du bien sont accueillies favorablement. Il est par ailleurs d'une importance cruciale que les deux États parties développent une gestion transfrontalière harmonisant le suivi écologique et mettant en place des opérations conjointes de surveillance. Cette démarche transfrontalière serait facilitée par la mise en œuvre conjointe d'un projet sur la préservation de l'intégrité du bien. Madame la Présidente, l'UCN et le Centre du patrimoine mondial ont reçu des informations concernant un projet d'aménagement de route en vue de faciliter le transport entre les deux États parties. Ce projet comprendrait le bitumage de la route de Lola en Guinée à Danané en Côte d'Ivoire qui passe par le mont Nimba. aucune information sur ce projet n'a été fournie par les États parties. Toutefois, le résumé de l'étude d'impact environnemental et social du projet, datant d'août 2014, est disponible sur le site web de la Banque africaine de développement. Celui-ci reconnaît simplement que ce projet aurait des impacts négatifs indirects sans pour autant reconnaître qu'il s'agit d'un bien du patrimoine mondial. Par conséquent, la valeur universelle exceptionnelle du bien déjà menacé risquerait de subir davantage de pression du braconnage et de la coupe illégale de bois si ce projet de bitumage de la route Lola-Danané serait réalisé. Il est donc recommandé que le comité demande aux États parties de soumettre au Centre du patrimoine mondial une étude d'impact environnemental et social complète, évaluant clairement les impacts potentiels du dit projet sur la valeur universelle exceptionnelle du bien, conformément à la note de conseil de l'UICN sur le patrimoine mondial et l'évaluation environnementale. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Merci beaucoup. Is there any comments or question or inquiries about the matter? No. Therefore, I declare draft decision 42-7A 46 adopted. Mr. Debonnet, now you have the floor to present the next property. Thank you.
We now start the discussion on the properties in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, starting with the Garamba National Park. The report can be found in your working document 7A on page 68 of the English version and 69 in the French version. Management and surveillance in this property continue to improve, and patrols are now covering the entire property, as well as 40% of the adjacent hunting areas. Despite this, the number of elephants killed by poachers remains high, with 50 documented cases of elephant poaching in 2017. The elephant population is now at an all-time low, and the April 2017 census estimated the current population at 1,191 animals, down from 10,000 before the conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo started in 1994. Instability in the neighboring countries linked to the conflicts in South Sudan and the Central African Republic continue to be a permanent threat to the security in the property. The influx of refugees into the region is also putting additional pressure on the property. 2 refuge camps have been established just 15 kilometers from the property and should accommodate up to 20,000 people. However, we just informed information from the management authority, ICCN, that following a letter sent on this issue by UNESCO to the UNHCR, and following a recent visit from the High Commissioner for Refugees to the region, discussions are now ongoing about relocating these camps to an alternative location 35 kilometers away from the property. In view of the continuing threat posed by insecurity in the region and the poaching, it is recommended that the committee maintain this property on the list of World Heritage in danger and continue to apply the reinforced monitoring mechanism. The draft decision 42-7A47 can be found in the working document 7A on page 70 of the English and 71 of the French version. And IUCN also has some further comments on this site. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any other comments from the other? Okay, thank you.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Comme noté par mon collègue du Centre du patrimoine mondial, la situation de l'éléphant reste extrêmement préoccupante. Il en est de même pour la girafe de Kordofan, dont les 49 individus recensés dans le bien constituent l'unique population restante en République démocratique du Congo. Il est encourageant qu'aucun cas de braconnage de girafes n'ait été documenté en 2017. Les efforts consentis par l'État partie pour la conservation de ces espèces, y compris la pose de colliers télémétriques, sont cruciaux pour endiguer la tendance de la baisse de ces populations et pour éviter que ces espèces suivent le sort du rhinocéros blanc du Nord pour qui le bien était le dernier refuge. mais qui est désormais malheureusement éteint en état sauvage. Madame la Présidente, du fait des pressions importantes auxquelles fait face le bien, il est recommandé que le comité réitère sa demande à l'État partie de soumettre la version finalisée de l'état de conservation souhaité en vue du retrait du bien de la liste du patrimoine mondial en péril. Merci Madame la Présidente.
Merci beaucoup. Is there any comments or questions or clarifications? No. The reporter, do you have any amendments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, we didn't receive amendments. Thank you.
So I declare a draft decision 42, 7A, 47 adopted. Mr. Debonnet, you have the floor to present the next report. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next site is Salonga National Park, also in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And the report can be found in the working document 7A ad on page 78 of the English and 81 of the French version. The improvement of the security situation in the region of the property has made it possible to strengthen surveillance activities in this vast property of 36,000 square kilometers. The area covered by surveillance now covers 56%. A management plan has been developed and approved, and there is now significant investment in improving the management of the property, with important financial assistance provided by Germany, the European Union and the United States. If these efforts can be sustained, it should be possible to cover over time, fully recover the OUV of the property. The preliminary results of the biological inventories in the northern block of the property are also encouraging. The bonobo population in this block was estimated at 8,746 animals, but unfortunately only 767 elephants were found. And it is clear that the elephant population has been greatly reduced following years of heavy poaching. Two important challenges remain the securing the biological corridor in order to maintain the connectivity between the two forest blocks of the property and finding a sustainable solution for the communities living inside the property. Unfortunately, the property also remains threatened by oil exploration, with the attribution by the President of the Republic on 1st of February 2018 of 3 new petroleum exploration concessions which are overlapping with the property. The World Heritage Center was also informed in May of a proposal made by the Minister of Hydrocarbons to the government for the degazettement of one or several zones of this property and also Virunga National Park to allow for petroleum explorations to be carried out. However, at this stage, no decision has been made by the government. The UNESCO Director General addressed a letter on 7th of June 2018 to the President of the Democratic Republic of the Congo to express her concerns regarding the attribution of exploration concessions overlapping with the property and to recall the position of the committee on the incompatibility of oil exploration or exploitation activities and the World Heritage status. In view of this situation, it is recommended that the committee maintains the property on the list of World Heritage in danger and continues to apply the reinforced monitoring mechanism. It is also recommended to request the state party to invite a joint World Heritage Center IUCN reactive monitoring mission to this property. The draft decision 42,7A50 can be found on page 80 in English and page 83 in the French version. And IUCN also has a comment on this property. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead, IUCN.
Merci Madame la Présidente. L'UCN note sa vive préoccupation quant à l'octroi de 3 concessions d'exploration pétrolière chevauchant le bien. D'autres blocs pourraient également être attribués, ce qui ferait que la totalité du bien serait couverte par des concessions pétrolières. Il faut noter que toute activité d'exploration ou d'exploitation pétrolière dans le bien et sa périphérie pourrait compromettre les progrès accomplis par l'État partie pour sécuriser le bien et pourrait avoir des impacts négatifs irréversibles sur sa valeur universelle exceptionnelle. Il convient de rappeler la position du comité que l'exploration et l'exploitation pétrolière sont incompatibles avec le statut de patrimoine mondial. Il est donc recommandé que le comité prie instamment l'État partie d'annuler les permis déjà octroyés et de ne pas en attribuer de nouveaux dans le bien ni dans sa périphérie. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much. Is there any comments or questions? Thank you. So the reporters, do you have any amendments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, we did not receive amendments for this item.
Thank you very much. So therefore, I declare draft decision 42, COM 7A 50 adopted. Mr. Deponey, you have the floor to present the next report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next property is the Virunga National Park, also in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The report can be found in your working document 7A ad on page 82 in English and 85 in French. A joint World Heritage Center IUCN Reactive Monitoring also visited this property in April. The property continues to face serious security problems, with several rebel groups active in and around the property. This year has been an extremely difficult year for the park rangers, as already mentioned in previous speeches. Several rebel groups have attacked different sectors of the property, and since the last session, 12 guards have been killed during these attacks. In the most recent incident in early May, also 2 tourists were kidnapped. As a result, the park authorities have been forced to suspend all tourism activities for the rest of this year. I also want to recall here that tonight there will be a special fundraising event for the widows of the fallen guards of Virunga National Park. So I hope many of you will join us in attending this event. In spite of this, guards are deployed in all sectors of the park, with the exception of the extreme northern part, which is totally occupied by militia. Aerial surveillance is happening on a daily basis and is covering the entire property. Poaching remains a major concern, with the elephant population now estimated between 200 and 300, and the hippos, which had been started to recover, again diminished to 1,850 animals. However, the good news is that the recent mountain gorilla survey showed that the census in the whole Virunga National Park, in the whole Virunga Massif, covering DRC, Rwanda and Uganda, estimated a total of 1,004 gorillas, an increase compared to the last census. 300 of these gorillas are living inside Virunga National Park. As mentioned in the case of Salonga National Park, this property also remains threatened by oil exploration, and we already mentioned the proposal made by the Minister of Hydrocarbons to degazette parts of Virunga to allow for oil exploration. But as mentioned so far, there has been no decision by the government on this issue. I also want to mention here that on June 7, the State Party of Uganda submitted a copy of a strategic environmental assessment carried out in 2013 for oil and gas activities in the Albertine Rift in the Uganda part of the Virunga area. However, IUCN has not yet been able to review this newly submitted information. Given the continued insecurity and the threats to the property, the Reactive Monitoring Mission recommends that the committee maintains the property on the list in danger and continues to apply the reinforced monitoring mechanism. The mission also updated the corrective measures and the timetable in consultation with the State Party, and these are included in the draft decision in front of you. The draft decision 7A51 can be found in your working document on page 84 in English and 87 in French. And IUCN also has further comments on this side.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Malgré les efforts de l'État parti d'améliorer la surveillance du bien et les progrès accomplis, les menaces auxquelles fait face le bien restent graves. L'empiètement des terres agricoles, bien que stable, reste une préoccupation majeure. Avec la disponibilité de données plus précises sur les terres envahies pour des activités agricoles, il est clair que l'ampleur de l'empiètement porte atteinte à l'intégrité du bien. Il est à espérer que les efforts de l'État parti pour la démarcation des limites et la reprise du contrôle du bien vont permettre la relocalisation de ces populations en dehors du parc, tout en leur proposant des moyens de subsistance alternatifs grâce aux activités de l'Alliance Virunga. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much. Do you have, is there any comments or inquiries or questions? Brazil, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you know, Brazil has held the position of Commander-in-Chief of the United Nations forces in Eastern Congo for quite some time now. Therefore, we are only too aware of the stringent difficulties faced by the Congolese government and park rangers for the maintenance of the OUV in the Garamba National Park. Therefore, Brazil wishes to commend the Congolese authorities and also the park officials for its outstanding efforts in order to safeguard the park and its attributes. Brazil also wishes to extend its mourning for the deaths of park rangers and is committed to helping the Congolese government in order for these not to happen ever again. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. And now the floor is for Tanzania.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My delegation notes that in paragraph 7 of the draft decision on this property, it congratulates the state part of DRC for the sustainable development activities established in the framework of the Alliance Virunga to improve the life of local communities. It further encourages the state party to continue this innovative model of combining nature, conservation, and sustainable development. Madam Chair, Tanzania recalls that in May 2016, a rather vibrant presentation was given by Alliance Virunga during the African Regional Workshop on Heritage and Sustainable Development that took place in Arusha, Tanzania, which culminated into the Ngorongoro Declaration. During that presentation, Madam Chair, it became clear that this robustly financed initiative was not only solidly set to foster conservation of the Virunga, but also to improve the life standards of the local communities living within its vicinity. This included, among other things, providing them with the much needed electrical energy that was expected to lessen their dependency on natural fuel. In this context, and with regard to the recent reactive monitoring mission that we are told was carried out in April 2018, my delegation is curious and would like to request the advisory bodies to explain into some depth the progress reached so far by the Alliance Virunga in improving the lives of local communities. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. And now the floor is for Zimbabwe.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I would like to thank the Center and the advisory bodies for this report, and also to commend the State Party on the efforts being made. Tanzania has taken the words out of my mouth. I would like to find out how the local communities are benefiting and how this program involves the local communities as core inhabitants and core stakeholders within the forest. At the moment, there are still problems with local communities logging and as well as poaching, but it is not clear what programs are in place to support local communities and for local communities to benefit. And I would also like clarification whether the advisory bodies and the Secretariat have now subcontracted support to Alliance Virunga. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now the floor is for the NGOs representative.
Mrs. President, on behalf of the Jane Goodall Institute Global, I want to congratulate you for your election as chair and to the Kingdom of Bahrain for holding this session. As an international wildlife organization, we want to express our support for the actions undertaken under the World Heritage Convention through the decisions and initiatives adopted by the Committee for the Conservation of Virunga National Park and other Congolese sites, as well as the Congolese authorities, especially ICCN. Virunga remains at the heart of the World Heritage Convention and is among the 16 World Heritage Sites and 21 biosphere reserves to protect great apes. Oldest park in Africa, Virunga, moreover, is the only park in the world to host 3 taxa of great apes: mountain gorillas, eastern lowland grower gorilla, and chimpanzees, our closest living relatives. Chimpanzees and humans share more than 98% of their DNA, and in biological terms are more closely related to humans than they are to gorillas. Among 2 million at the beginning of the 20th century, it reached today a number close to 350,000. We invite the World Heritage community to join us in the celebration of the first ever World Chimpanzee Day, the next 4th of July, in honor of the day in which Dr. Jane Goodall stepped foot in what is now Gombe National Park in Tanzania in 1960. This is an initiative of a number of organizations, mainly primate sanctuary in North America, in Africa, and the Jane Goodall Institute Global. Please take the time to reflect on the threats of our closest relative and consider urgent adoption or reinforcement of measures. You can visit the site www.worldchimpanzeeday.org. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now the floor for another NGO speaker. Okay, thank you very much. So they don't want to speak, maybe. Is there any other participant?
Answer by
You want to answer? You see it? Please.
Merci Madame la Présidente. L'UCN remercie d'abord l'ensemble des membres du comité qui ont intervenu, ont posé des questions quand même très pertinentes. Madame la Présidente, je rappelle que la situation que vit le parc national de Virunga, c'est une situation extrêmement difficile qui date de très longtemps. Donc le processus qui est en cours de mise en œuvre par l'Alliance Virunga, qui allie la conservation du parc, mais également développe des initiatives au profit des communautés locales qui portent essentiellement sur la fourniture d'électricité, mais également le développement d'un système d'agriculture durable familiale, est un processus qui n'a pas encore atteint sa vitesse de croisière. Donc c'est un processus qui est en cours, qui déjà a montré des résultats assez intéressants et très encouragés également par les communautés. Je pense qu'à ce stade, l'État partie qui est ici présent pourrait également donner plus de détails sur les avancées notées par le programme de l'Alliance Virunga. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much. And now I give the floor to Australia. Australia, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I just wanted to make a short intervention. Firstly, just to express our condolences to the families of those rangers who've been killed in the line of duty, serving our collective interest in the conservation of a World Heritage property. Secondly, I wanted to just underline the reality that we will never, ever get on top of this terrible problem of poaching and the illegal trade in wildlife until such time as a global community we deal effectively with the source of the problem, and that is the demand for those products that are being traded illegally. And in that regard, I want to urge all states parties to do their utmost under the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species and in their own jurisdictions to stamp out wherever we can the illegal trade in wildlife. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Try to figure out if RDC wants to speak.
Now I give the floor to the Republic of Hungary.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like just join to what Australia said before and highlight the need and the necessity to have a stronger cooperation with the other convention, the Washington Convention, the CITES, because this is crucial to at least start to solve these serious problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now the floor is for the Tanzania.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We're just echoing what UCN has just proposed, to have a word from the State Party of Congo on the situation of Alliance Virunga. Thank you.
Now I give the floor to the Republic of Congo.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. La République démocratique du Congo tient à vous remercier, à remercier tous les membres du comité et toute la communauté internationale de son appui afin de pouvoir remettre ce parc dans son état. Aujourd'hui, c'est vrai, nous avons un grand programme pour réconcilier la conservation et le développement. Et nous sommes au niveau du 3e centrale hydroélectrique qui apporte de l'énergie, donc de l'électricité, dans tous les centres sociaux, les hôpitaux et autres gratuitement, et qui soutient des micro-programmes de développement pour les communautés. Nous croyons que ce programme va se développer davantage afin de soulager en fait la misère de cette population qui avoisine le parc national de Virunga. Et nous sommes conscients que les efforts fournis vont apporter d'ici là une réponse adéquate avec l'agriculture durable pour aider cette population à soulager leur misère, mais principalement à adhérer à la vision de la conservation. Tel est notre objectif, impliquer cette population dans la conservation et les amener à pouvoir nous soutenir dans ce travail en s'appropriant ce parc de Virunga comme leur patrimoine. Nous croyons qu'avec tout cela, nous pourrons apporter dans le temps si court une solution à la vie de cette population et même à la sécurité du parc. Je vous remercie beaucoup.
Thank you very much. Is there any other comments or questions? No, thank you very much. So the reporter, do you have any amendments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, we have not received amendments for this item. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now I therefore declare a draft decision 42, Com 7A 51 adopted. Mr. Deponey, you have the floor to present the next report. Thank you.
The next report is on the general situation in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. As you know, this country has 5 World Heritage Sites, all inscribed on the list in danger. And so a few years ago, the committee decided to have also a general report on the situation. This report can be found in your working document 7A ad on page 86 in English and 89 in French. As mentioned in the individual reports on the sites, insecurity caused by the presence of armed groups and various militia continue to threaten the outstanding universal value of many of the properties located especially in the eastern DRC. And as mentioned before, the ranger staff has paid an extremely heavy toll this year, with in total 22 guards killed in the Okapi Wildlife Reserve and in the Virunga National Park, and many others seriously injured. Also in the Kauzi-Biega National Park, a team of 27 ICCN employees were kidnapped last March for more than a month by a group of militia. The State Party report notes that no petroleum activities are envisaged in the DRC World Heritage Sites. However, as also mentioned before, the recent approval by the President of petroleum blocks in the Salonga National Park and the recent proposal by the Minister of Hydrocarbons to review the boundaries of Salonga and Virunga to allow for oil exploration clearly demonstrate that the sites are still potentially threatened by oil exploration activities. It is therefore recommended that the committee reiterates its position on the incompatibility of all oil and gas exploration and exploitation within World Heritage Sites, and that it recalls that any proposal for the modification of the boundaries of said sites must be based on strengthening its OUV and should not be proposed with the aim of just facilitating extractive activities. The draft decision 7A52 can be found in the working document 7A on page 87 in English and 91 in French. And IUCN has no further comments on this report.
Thank you very much. Do you have any inquiries or intervention? No. Norway? Please, I give Norway the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Firstly, Norway would like to express its deepest condolences to the families of the guards killed. We strongly condemn the targeting of staff working to protect the natural heritage of DRC. Oil exploration in World Heritage properties is of utmost concern. We strongly support paragraph 7 in the draft decision, stating that any proposal for modification of the boundaries of a World Heritage property must be based on strengthening its OUV and should not be proposed with the aim of facilitating extractive activities. We would also like to stress the long-term benefits from sustainable use of natural resources, not only in terms of protecting biodiversity, but also in generating well-being and economic benefits for local people. Recognizing the many challenges the DRC is facing, we encourage state parties and the donor community to support the state party in their efforts to protect these areas of outstanding biodiversity that are of such a global importance. Norway supports the draft decision. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. And now I give the floor to Zimbabwe.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Zimbabwe also supports the draft decision. However, on number 9, there is a request that the state party presents reports on our update report on the 4 properties by the 1st of February 2019. I think this is trying to put a lot of pressure on the state party. The state party may need more time given the complexity of the issues here.
Mrs. Rosler.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I just consulted with the rapporteur. So the idea was to get reports back for the 1st of February to be able to report to the next session. So does it mean you don't want to have a report for the next session? Could you please clarify? Thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair. I think the state party should be given, should report to the 44th session of the committee.
The whole committee wants not to have a report on this next time.
Maybe if you agree, all the committee, that the report will not be submitted next year for the 44th session. That means after 1 year meeting. What do you think? Are you agree? Or does anybody support this suggestion? Tanzania, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We second that position.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to clarify further, this is the general decision because you're obliged to look every year on all the sites on the danger list. So all the sites from the Democratic Republic of the Congo you will look at. But what you don't want to have is a general decision on the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the challenges in general on this situation. Just to be very clear, so that the rapporteur knows how to change the last paragraph. Thank you. Now, Uganda.
Now I give the floor to Uganda.
Madam Chair, Uganda looks at the issues that are actually faced by the protected areas in Congo, and considering the fact that there are so many sites that Congo needs to look at to produce a comprehensive report, I think it would be reasonable for us to give them a little bit of more time so that they can look at all these sites and get a comprehensive report for all the sites and submit. I think the time that has been requested by Zimbabwe is reasonable enough, and I think we concur with that position as Uganda. I submit.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to the NGO, one of the NGO representatives.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Je m'appelle Joseph Mukumo, représentant des autochtones Bambouda et les basses altitudes du Parc national de Kahuzi-Biega, et je parle pour le compte du Forum international des peuples autochtones sur le patrimoine mondial. Madame la Présidente, c'est bien reconnu la contribution historique des peuples autochtones dans les métiers de la biodiversité issus du patrimoine mondial. Madame la Présidente, nous reconnaissons en tant que citoyens du pays les grands défis et les menaces que rencontrent les gardes du parc à patrouiller les territoires, illustrés par les enlèvements dans les Kahuzi-Biega et les récentes tueries des éco-gardes dans le parc de Virunga. Et nous félicitons l'attention du comité sur ces menaces et encourageons l'initiative de compassion annoncée en marge de cette 42e session dont je ferai aussi partie de cette initiative ce soir. Pour le cas, Madame le Président, du Kahuzi-Biega, les autochtones Batois ont connu l'expulsion et n'ont pas accès aux ressources naturelles traditionnelles, ce qui affecte leur culture, l'identité et les moyens de subsistance. Les activités traditionnelles de la chasse, cueillette et médecine traditionnelle pour beaucoup de Batois sont qualifiées d'illégales et les exposent au risque de sanctions violentes par les agents en surveillance. les cas de meurtre des bateaux en bord de Nakuliro en août 2017. Cela continue d'être le cas malgré le travail important au niveau national à RDC pour établir une négociation positive et une résolution des conflits entre les bateaux et les Bambouti et les autorités du parc en lien avec le processus de Wakatan de l'UCN pour les autochtones des hautes et de basse altitude du parc de Kaouzi-Biega. Se référant aussi à l'acceptation de la RDC d'une recommandation garantissant les droits des peuples autochtones dans les aires protégées lors de l'examen périodique universel par le Conseil des droits de l'homme en avril 2014. Ainsi, nous sommes très préoccupés de constater que les rapports de décision du comité sur les biens n'ont pas pris en compte la situation particulière des autochtones de basse altitude et haute altitude du parc de Kaouzi-Biega. Nous recommandons ainsi la relance de ces processus de collaboration dans le cadre du processus de Wakatane et d'assurer que les autochtones participent à la gouvernance et gestion du patrimoine mondial à RDC. Et aussi de s'assurer que...
Please terminate
encourager spécifiquement à l'implication des peuples autochtones dans la proposition, l'inscription et la gestion, ainsi que la rédaction des rapports des biens du patrimoine situés sur leur territoire. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much. And now I give the floor to the reporter to give us the amendments, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So as we have heard during the debate, we have one proposal for amendment from Zimbabwe, seconded by Tanzania, for paragraph 9 of the decision. And in this sense, the new paragraph would read, if we can have it on the screen, further request the state party to submit to the World Heritage Center by 1st of December 2019 a detailed report on the implementation of the Kinshasa Declaration, the security situation in the properties and the status of the oil exploration and exploitation concessions that encroach on World Heritage properties for examination by the World Heritage Committee at its 44th session in 2020. And now we have it on the screen. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Is there any objection? So we'll go ahead and adopt the decision. Okay. So I therefore declare draft decision as amended, 42.7a, 57 adopted. Mr. Debonnet, you have the floor to present the next property. Thank you.
The next property are the Aïr and Ténéré Natural Reserves in Niger. The report can be found in your working document 7A on page 78 in the English version and 79 in the French version. The State Party is reporting on its continuing efforts to implement the corrective measures. The World Heritage Center and IUCN consider that the development of a surveillance plan and the management plan remain urgent, and therefore recommend the committee to encourage the State Party to submit a revised international assistance request in order to receive assistance to complete these tasks. The presence of uranium, oil and gold exploration and exploitation permits in the vicinity of the property remain of significant concern, and the State Party should be requested to submit maps which clearly show the location of these permits in relation to the property. The State Party should further ensure that all exploration and exploitation activities are subject to prior environmental impact assessments in line with IUCN's World Heritage Advice Note on environmental assessments, to ensure that these activities do not have a negative impact on the OUV of the property. It is also recommended that the committee encourage the State Party to seek advice from the World Heritage Center and IUCN to prepare the desired state of conservation for the removal of the property from the list of World Heritage in danger, and that it retains the property on the list of World Heritage in danger. The draft decision 42.7a54 can be found in the working document on page 80 in English and 82 in French. And IUCN has also comments on this report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The comments, please.
Merci Madame la Présidente. L'UCN apprécie les efforts de l'État partie pour continuer d'améliorer la surveillance et le suivi du bien et pour restaurer les zones dégradées, notamment celles infestées par l'espèce envahissante Prosophis juliflora. Toutefois, l'État partie n'a fourni aucune donnée issue des programmes de suivi des espèces clés du bien, ni sur l'étendue de l'invasion de Prosopis et son impact sur la valeur universelle exceptionnelle du bien. Ces données sont nécessaires pour informer les décisions de gestion du bien, mais également pour élaborer l'état de conservation souhaité en vue du retrait du bien de la liste du patrimoine mondial en péril. Il est extrêmement préoccupant que le soutien accordé au programme d'élevage en captivité de l'autruche à cou rouge ne soit toujours pas suffisant pour assurer sa réussite. Vu l'importance cruciale des programmes d'élevage en captivité pour la réhabilitation de cette espèce au Niger, il est recommandé au comité de demander à l'État partie de solliciter des conseils d'experts pour l'amélioration de ces programmes. Il est également recommandé que le comité demande à l'État partie d'œuvrer en étroite collaboration avec les États parties dans l'aire de répartition de l'autruche à cou rouge pour l'élaboration et la mise en œuvre d'un plan d'action régional pour la conservation de cette espèce. L'UCN encourage l'État partie à solliciter des conseils des experts du groupe de spécialistes de la Commission de sauvegarde des espèces de l'UCN afin d'évaluer et d'améliorer l'efficacité du programme et d'élaborer la stratégie de réintroduction de l'espèce au sein du bien. Merci Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much. Is there any comments or inquiries or questions? No, I don't see any. Our reporters, do you have any amendments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We didn't receive amendments to this item.
Thank you very much. So I therefore declare draft decision 42, 7A, 54 adopted. Mr. Debonnet, you have the floor for the next property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next property is the Niokolo-Koba National Park in Senegal. The report can be found in your working document 7A on page 81 in English and 83 in French. The State Party reports on its continuing efforts to implement the corrective measures, in particular in the fields of law enforcement and monitoring. The results of the ongoing monitoring activities are reported to indicate that viable and increasing populations of key wildlife species such as lion, wild dog, chimpanzee and Derby eland are confirmed. However, the Centre and IUCN know that more time is required to confirm these tendencies, as well as the reported downward trend in poaching. The potential impacts of the Mako Gold Prospection Project remain a serious concern with regard to the potential impacts of the project on the chimpanzee populations within this concession. The State Party further notes that currently no funds are available to implement the Sambagulu Dam project, and the World Heritage Centre and IUCN reiterate the need to keep the Centre informed of the developments of this project, which could potentially impact the OUV of the property. Despite the progress accomplished, the Centre and IUCN consider that more time and efforts are required to ensure that the reported positive tendencies are maintained for at least 3 consecutive years, as stipulated in the desired state of conservation for the removal of the property from the list of World Heritage in danger. Consequently, it is recommended that the committee maintain for this moment the property on the list of World Heritage in danger, and the draft decision 42-7A54 can be found on page 84 of the English version of the working document and 82 in the French version. And IUCN has further comments on this property, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. L'USN accueille favorablement les efforts consentis de l'État partie pour la mise en œuvre des mesures correctives. Toutefois, les impacts potentiels du projet aurifère à Mako restent une préoccupation. Bien que les efforts de l'État partie et de la société Petroal Mining Company pour assurer un suivi des impacts soient bien notés, aucune donnée issue de ce suivi n'a été fournie, hormis celle concernant la quantité d'eau dans le fleuve Gambie. Il est recommandé que le comité demande à l'État partie de soumettre au Centre du patrimoine mondial un rapport de suivi, y compris une analyse des données sur la quantité et la qualité des eaux de surface et souterraines en amont et en aval du projet. Il est également recommandé que le comité demande à l'État partie de fournir des données spécifiques et détaillées sur le suivi des chimpanzés afin de permettre une évaluation des impacts réels du projet sur cette espèce, ainsi qu'une évaluation de l'efficacité des zones de conservation créées en dehors du bien dans l'optique d'atténuer ces impacts. Prenons note qu'aucun financement n'est encore disponible pour la construction du barrage à Sambangalou. L'USN considère que ce projet demeure une menace potentielle pour le bien qui doit faire l'objet d'une étude d'impact environnemental et social détaillée, y compris une évaluation des impacts sur la valeur universelle exceptionnelle du bien, conformément à la note de conseil de l'USN sur le patrimoine mondial et l'évaluation environnementale. Pour finir, Madame la Présidente, l'USN regrette qu'aucune information n'ait été fournie concernant la fermeture de la carrière de basalte à Mansadala, prévue pour 2018, comme l'avait confirmé l'État partie lors de la 41e session du comité. Il est donc recommandé que le comité demande à l'État partie de confirmer dans les plus brefs délais si la fermeture de la carrière s'est effectuée comme prévu, rappelant que cette date a déjà été repoussée à plusieurs reprises. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much. Is there any comment or intervention or question? Thank you. So, no, the reporter you don't have. Okay. Thank you very much. So I therefore declare draft decision 42, COM 7A 55 adopted. Mr. Debonnet, you have the floor to present the next report, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next report is on the Selous Game Reserve in the United Republic of Tanzania. The report can be found in the working document 7A Add on page 91 of the English version and page 95 of the French version. Selous Game Reserve was inscribed on the list of World Heritage in Danger in 2014 as a result of a steep increase in poaching, which led to a decimation of the elephant population and doubts about the continued survival of black rhino in the property. Since 2014, the State Party has worked closely with its partners to address the poaching issue through an emergency action plan. The aerial census planned for 2018 by the national authorities should help to confirm the status of elephant population, which now appears to be stable. Following an intensive search, a small number of black rhino appears also to be still present in the property. These positive developments are overshadowed by plans of the government to develop the Stiegler's Gorge Dam. In this regard, on July 2017, the State Party submitted to the World Heritage Center a position paper stating its intention to proceed with the construction of the Stiegler's Gorge hydropower project within the property. On 8th of August and 11th of September 2017, the World Heritage Center sent letters to the State Party on this matter, reiterating the committee's request to fully assess potential risks and to consider alternative options. On the 26th of January 2018, the UNESCO Director General also sent a letter to the President of the Republic of Tanzania to express her concern about this project. It is to be recalled that in its decision 40-7, the World Heritage Committee established a position that the construction of dams with large reservoirs within the boundaries of World Heritage properties is incompatible with their World Heritage status. In the case of the Stiegler's Gorge Dam, the reservoir would cover close to 1,500 square kilometers inside the property, almost twice the size of the Kingdom of Bahrain. It needs to be pointed out that while this committee session is considering relevant cases of potential impacts of dams on World Heritage sites, in all these cases, we talk about dams constructed outside the property, but with potential upstream or downstream impacts on the property. The proposal to build a large dam, such as the Stiegler's Gorge Dam, inside the property is therefore a very new development for the Convention. On the 3rd of April 2018, the World Heritage Center participated in the stakeholders' consultation as part of the environmental and social impact assessment concerning the dam project. It was recalled that the World Heritage Committee has taken in numerous past decisions which express concern on the potential irreversible damage of the construction of the dam on the property's outstanding universal value. Following the call, the World Heritage Center also conveyed its inputs by letter of 6th of April 2018. To date, the completed environmental impact assessment has not yet been submitted to the World Heritage Center. The World Heritage Center notes the short-term time frame available to conduct the ongoing impact assessment, and it also notes the requirement for a strategic environmental assessment for all hydropower developments under the Tanzanian national legislation. It is therefore recommended that the committee reiterates its request to the state party to fully assess the cumulative impacts of the Stiegler's Gorge hydropower project on the property and its wider landscape through a strategic environmental assessment, undertaken to the highest international standards, and to consider alternative options to meet its power generation needs. On the 25th of April 2018, the Tanzania Forest Service Agency published a tender for the deforestation of 143,000 hectares located within the World Heritage property, and more specifically, within the area earmarked for the construction of the dam. The map on the screen shows the area where this deforestation will take place, and it includes some of the most pristine forest areas in the property. The World Heritage Center was also informed that the signs of the remaining black rhino were actually found within the area that is proposed to be deforested. If authorized, the complete deforestation of such a large area will lead to irreversible damage to the World Heritage property's outstanding universal value and the loss of its integrity. In response to this new development, the UNESCO Assistant Director General for Culture sent a letter to the Minister of Natural Resources and Tourism of Tanzania on the 31st of May 2018. Madam Chair, the Center also received a petition signed by more than 130,000 people requesting Tanzania not to proceed with the logging. It is therefore recommended that the committee request the state party to invite a joint World Heritage Center IUCN reactive monitoring mission to the property to review the status of the Stiegler Gorge hydropower project. The draft decision 42-7A56 can be found in the working document on page 94 in English and 98 in French. And IUCN also has further comments on this report.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The state party's decision to develop the Rufiji River hydropower project inside the property and its associated activities is a cause for grave concern. IUCN and the World Heritage Centre therefore recommend that the committee add this issue to the justification for the continued inclusion of the property on the list of World Heritage in danger. IUCN and the World Heritage Centre also recommend that the committee urge the state party not to proceed with the planned logging and all the activities related to the hydropower project until a comprehensive strategic environmental assessment has been completed and reviewed by IUCN and the World Heritage Centre. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Is there any comments? You see which Norway?
Angola.
Angola? Norway, Angola.
Norway, Angola.
So now I give the floor to Norway.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Norway understands that Tanzania wishes to achieve its energy objectives. As committee members, it is our role and mission to ensure that OUV is conserved and protected. Plan for the construction of a dam within the borders of a World Heritage property has to be seen as a potential threat according to the criteria for danger listing. In addition to our understanding, a tender to start logging in the World Heritage property has been announced. In order to ensure that a full assessment of the impact of the dam project, a strategic environmental assessment is needed in order for the committee to make informed decisions. Norway considers the draft decision as accurate with regards to the current situation, and we hope that it truly demonstrates that the international community cares about Selous and that there is a will to assist Tanzania in finding solutions that will not have detrimental impact on one of Africa's most important protected areas, an area with outstanding universal value. Norway supports the draft decision. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to Angola, please. Angola.
Madam Chairperson, Angola concurs with the analysis made and the recommendations suggested by the advisory body on the state of conservation of Selous Game Reserve. We urge the State Party of Tanzania to address the key issue related to the improved conservation of this property within the limits of resources available. Angola appreciates that the anti-poaching intervention undertaken so far by the State Party of Tanzania have begun to bear fruits. All data indicate that poaching, the primary reason for its inscription in the danger list, has been arrested, as testified by an upward 11 population growth and a healthier population structure. We encourage the State Party of Germany and other interested funding partners to continue the commitment and collaboration in strengthening the conservation of Selous. Madam Chairperson, Angola considers provision of adequate energy as crucial for the fast-growing economy of Tanzania and Africa as a whole. This is particularly necessary so as to keep pace with the dire need to address poverty, which remains a priority for Tanzania and Africa at large. While the Stills Gorge project has stimulated significant debate, we are aware that the environment social impact assessment for it has been finalized and ready for review by the World Heritage Center. In any case, we underscore the need to minimize the possible negative impact to the overview of the property. At the time that an explicit decision has been made to continue with this project, we strongly suggest that the State Party of Tanzania engages in a close dialogue and consultation with the World Heritage Center so as to speed the recommendation of the advisory body in the most practical and feasible way. Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you very much. And now I give the floor to Australia.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Australia supports the draft decision to retain this property on the list of World Heritage in danger, given the imperative of preserving the attributes for which the property was inscribed. We note the advisory body's advice that the development of the Steigers Gorge hydropower station and the associated planned deforestation within the borders of the property will damage these attributes in a manner that will be incompatible with World Heritage status. Australia respects the aspirations of Tanzania to achieve its vision to develop into a modern, electrified and industrialised country, and notes the consequential increase in energy demand that will occur over the coming decades. Australia urges Tanzania to implement the recommendations in the draft decision, particularly the strategic environment assessment, and to explore options to meet its increased energy needs through sustainable sources that will not irretrievably damage the attributes for which Selous was placed on the World Heritage List.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to Zimbabwe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to request your permission, for you to give permission to the state party to make a statement.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to Hungary.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To be as brief as possible, Hungary fully agrees with the Australian and Norwegian position, and we support the adoption of the draft decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to Spain. Spain.
Muchas gracias, señora presidenta. Y para no alargar los debates, queremos sumarnos a los comentarios hechos por la delegación de Australia en el sentido de apoyar la decisión tal y como ha sido sometida al comité, encomendar los esfuerzos del Estado parte en seguir la protección del sitio, así como buscar todas las alternativas posibles de proveer de energía sostenible a este sitio protegido. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to the state party, Tanzania.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tanzania agrees with the submission by the distinguished delegate of Angola. And at this juncture, Madam Chair, we propose for a continued engagement in constructive dialogue with the World Heritage Center and the advisory bodies by way of striking the best way forward on this important issue. We confirm that the EIA for the project is out, should be on its way to the World Heritage Center, but also we have just initiated the strategic environmental assessment process that should be on its implementation very soon. We wish to bring to the attention of the World Heritage Committee that during the previous decision on this issue of Selous, Tanzania was encouraged to undertake the environmental impact assessment, which we have undertaken. But during this year's decision that we are discussing now, Madam Chair, the stress has been on the ESIA, on the strategic environmental assessment. So that's why you see that we worked very hard to do the EIA, and now we are doing the strategic environmental assessment, although actually the strategic environmental assessment should in practice precede the environmental impact assessment. But we wish to comfort the World Heritage Center and the advisory bodies that we are ready to engage, and we have already started engaging already to see the best way of how to handle this rather sensitive issue. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to the representative of NGO.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for giving us the floor. Africa has only a few truly wilderness areas left where you can experience wildlife in its truest sense. Selous World Heritage Site is one of them. But Selous is not just about wildlife. It provides value for people and communities. WWF commissioned research suggests that 1.2 million people living around the reserve could benefit from it being sustainably developed. Currently, the reserve generates $6 million annually and is one of the prime tourism attractions in southern Tanzania, despite being underdeveloped for tourism. In addition, there are 200,000 livelihoods downstream of Selous that depend on maintaining the flow of the Rufiji River. We welcome the government's anti-poaching efforts and progress made this far. We acknowledge the start of SECAD project and the World Bank loan to improve the management of the Selous. These efforts seem to be working as qualitative data seem to suggest a fall in poaching rates and an increase in calf elephants. This will all help to expand the tourist sector and increase revenues. However, these efforts could be undermined by the development of Stiegler's Gorge for hydropower electricity. We welcome the announcement of the State Party to carry out a strategic environmental assessment as required under Tanzanian law to assess the impacts on other sectors, strategies and opportunities for alternative power generation schemes. We understand that there are a range of alternatives that could provide the power without destroying the tourist potential or the OUV that makes Selous such a unique and magnificent landscape for the planet. So in this case, with wise planning, it seems that Tanzania can have its cake and eat it. The world is losing its wilderness areas, but in Selous there is the potential to host a vast population of elephants and become a premier global tourist destination if wise choices are made about its future. This will benefit Tanzania and its people for generations to come. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The reporter, do you have any amendments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, we didn't receive amendments for this item.
So I therefore declare a draft decision 42Com 7A 56 adopted. I now invite Mr. Edmond Mukala, Chief of the African Unit of the World Heritage Center, to read the list of the natural properties inscribed on the list of the World Heritage in danger located in the African region, for which the report are proposed for adoption without discussion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since Mr. Edmond is not here, I will quickly do that. So there are 3 sites that were not for discussion in the Africa region. It's the Kahuzi-Biega National Park in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Decision 42Com7A48, the Okapi Wildlife Reserve, also in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Decision 42Com7A44, and the rainforests of the Atsinanana in Madagascar, Decision 42Com7A53. Thank you.
If there is no objection from the committee on this matter, or on this state of conservation report, I declare the decision read. Is there any objection? No. So I consider the decision read out adopted. I would now like to ask whether any observer delegation would like to express themselves about one of the properties for which we have adopted the decision without the discussion. Is there any request for interference? No. Thank you. This is very small, huh? Where? Thank you. Why then you give me this one? Okay. So, like for item 7A, we will first discuss the report concerning cultural properties, following by the mixed and natural properties. The region will be presented and the same regional order for the item 7. Asia and Pacific, Europe and North America, Latin America and the Caribbean, Africa, Arab states. So I now invite Mr. Feng Jing, Chief of the Asia Pacific Unit for the World Heritage Center, to present the report on the state of the conservation of the cultural properties located in Asia and Pacific region, and open for the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. The first site to be reviewed from the Asia-Pacific region is the cultural property of the historical ensemble of the Potala Palace in Lhasa. The conservation issues for the property, which comprised of the Potala Palace, Jokan Temple, and Nobelinka, are summarized in Working Documents 42-COM 7B Add on pages 7 to 9 of the English language version and pages 6 to 9 of the French language version. In accordance with the committee's decision 40-COM 7B 31, the State Party of China submitted a State of Conservation report on this property in December 2017 and responded to some of the requests made by the committee. Following a fire at the Jokan Temple Monastery on 17th of February 2018, the World Heritage Center requested information from the State Party, which was provided on 16th of March last. According to the State Party, the monitoring and control will be improved at the property, joint lessons from this incident, and fire safety screenings are currently taking place at the property and other cultural heritage sites in Tibet. With regard to a clear definition of buffer zones of the property, detailed maps should be submitted to the World Heritage Center as a matter of priority in accordance with the operational guidelines and multiple prior to decisions of the committee. The state parties advise that regulations for the buffer zones will be contained within the conservation plans for the components parts of the property is welcome. The 3 conservation plans for the components parts of the property should be submitted to the World Heritage Center for review by the advisory bodies as soon as possible. Guidelines need to be provided for the protection of historical buildings within the buffer zones and ensure that the preservation of traditional urban structure and layout, including historical buildings, is a focus of the Urban Master Plan for Lhasa 2009 to 2020, as recommended by the April 2015 Reactive Monitoring Mission. The urban master plan should also promote the spatial linkages and the visual corridors between the component parts, the historical context, and the wider siting that gave Lhasa City its unique character. With regard to the fire of February 2018, the preliminary report contained in the additional information is acknowledged, along with the work carried out in the immediate aftermath of the fire. As more detailed damage assessments are carried out and plans for restoration are developed, more detailed reports, including images, drawings, and other graphic illustrations of the damage, paying particular attention to the golden ceiling, should be submitted to the World Heritage Center for review by the advisory bodies. In this regard, it is recommended that the committee request the State Party of China to invite a joint World Heritage Center, ICOMOS, ICROM reactive monitoring mission to the property to assess the damage caused by the fire and the proposed restoration works to be carried out, as well as to examine the other aspects of the state of conservation of the property. After publication of the SOC report, the World Heritage Center received third-party information expressing concern on the state of conservation of the property. The state party was requested to provide clarifications on this matter, and a reply was received on 22nd of June from China's State Administration of Cultural Heritage. In brief, the state party is willing to invite a joint reaction to monitor mission, as mentioned earlier. The supplementary information provided by the state party has been shared with the advisory bodies for review. Madam Chairperson, dear committee members, the draft decision 40Com 7B2 can be found on page 9 of the English language version of the working document and page 8 of the French language version. With your permission, Madam Chairperson, ICOMOS will provide further comments on this property. Let me also point out that the representative of the state party is present to provide additional information. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The State Party and its agencies have implemented important initiatives to improve the experience of both pilgrims and tourists at the property, and to document and valorise traditional knowledge systems through a range of studies and monitoring and maintenance systems. The involvement of more Tibetan craftsmen, artisans and experts in the conservation work, as recommended by the 2015 monitoring mission, is strongly supported. The spatial relationships between the components of the property and holistic management of the attributes which contribute to its outstanding universal value require definitive identification of buffer zones, so it is of great importance that the relevant maps are prepared soon and the conservation plans for the 3 component parts of the property include appropriate regulations for these buffer zones. ICOMOS and ICROM stand ready to review the maps and conservation plans once these are submitted to the World Heritage Centre. A proposed television tower has potential to affect the OUV of the property, and it is appropriate that this impact be carefully assessed in accordance with the 2011 ICOMOS guidance on heritage impact assessments for cultural World Heritage properties and reviewed by the advisory bodies before any work on this project commences. The fire, which occurred in February 2018, has caused some damage. And while the efforts of the State Administration for Cultural Heritage and the People's Government of the Tibet Autonomous Region following the fire are acknowledged, it would be appropriate for the State Party to invite a joint World Heritage Centre ICOMOS-ICROM reactive monitoring mission to the property to assess the fire damage and the proposed restoration works to be undertaken, as well as to examine other aspects of the state of conservation of the property. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Is there any comments or question?
Tanzania.
Okay. So I give the floor to the representative of Tanzania.
Thank you, Excellency Madam Chairperson. Tanzania wishes to congratulate the State Party of China for the notable progress made in maintaining the state of conservation of the property, specifically on valorizing and utilizing the traditional knowledge systems and training young craftsmen on management of the property. Tanzania also commends the State Party for the establishment of the conservation plans to prevent soil erosion and improve bedrock conditions on the site. Furthermore, Tanzania commends the State Party for the policies and administrative measures that have been put in place to monitor the development of projects that contribute to the promotion of the outstanding universal value for the property and therefore improve visitor tourist experience. Madam Chairperson, while we remain sympathetic with the State Party for the devastating fire outbreak on the site in February 2018, we commend the timely rehabilitation work carried out in the immediate aftermath of the incident. In this regard, Madam Chairperson, this delegation therefore encourages the State Party to invite a joint reactive monitoring mission to the property to assess the damage caused by the fire and propose restoration works to be undertaken therefrom. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. And now I give the floor to Koba.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Gracias, señora presidenta. En este caso realmente queremos reconocer ante una situación lamentable como es el hecho de un incendio en un lugar de tanto valor, pues las acciones realmente llevadas a cabo por el Estado parte, creemos que es importante tener en cuenta esa capacidad de reacción y por supuesto que Cuba, como país interesado por la conservación del patrimonio en general, está también sensibilizada con el seguimiento a darle a la situación del sitio. En tal sentido, queremos dejar claramente ese reconocimiento de la necesidad de la continuidad del trabajo conjunto entre órganos consultivos, el secretariado y, por supuesto, el Estado parte. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask China if they have any comments, please.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. China appreciates the concerns and work of the committee and the World Heritage Center and the advisory bodies of the historic ensemble of the Palace of Potala Palace. We will continue to take actions to implement the resolution to strengthen the protection and management of the property. As regarding to the fire accident to Jankan Temple Monastery on 16 February 2018, China has submitted to the World Heritage Center a report with detailed and post-fire repair work with relevant drawings and photos. As mentioned in the report, the fire was happened at the ventilating chamber on the second floor of the back hall of the main hall of the Jankan Temple Monastery. Due to the proper measures carried out by the local government, the fire was brought under timely control and put out soon. The building of the main hall remains safety and stability. The OUV, authenticity and the integrity of the Jankan Temple Monastery was not damaged was not damaged and affected. Of course, as required in the resolution, further information and materials will be provided to the World Heritage Center in the near future. Meanwhile, China is also willing to invite a reactive monitoring mission organized by the World Heritage Center, ICOMOS, and ICROOM, which could learn more about the local fire accident and follow up conservation efforts and offer comments and recommendations. By the way, the local government has taken the lesson of the fire accident and soon after organized a safety inspection of all the cultural heritage sites throughout the Tibetan region in order to eliminate the safety risks. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. The reporter, do you have any amendments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, we haven't received any amendments.
Okay. So I therefore declare draft decision 42, 7B, 2 adopted. I now invite Mr. Feng Jing to present the next report. You have the floor, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. The next site for review by the committee is the Kathmandu Valley in Nepal. Details of the conservation issues identified for the property are summarized in working document 42-7B on pages 21 to 25 of both language versions. This property is threatened by the impacts of severe earthquakes of April and May 2015. Further important threats include the lack of a coordinated management mechanism and some of the work carried out as part of the post-earthquake recovery, rehabilitation, and reconstruction processes. In view of the extensive damage caused to all 7 monument zones by the 2015 earthquakes, there is both a certain and potential danger to the property as defined in paragraphs 177 and 179 of the operational guidelines. Therefore, since the 39th session of the committee in Bonn, the World Heritage Committee, the World Heritage Center and the advisory bodies have been recommending the committee that to inscribe the property on the list of World Heritage in danger. This position was confirmed by the joint World Heritage Center ICOMOS ICROM reactor monitoring missions of October 2015 and March 2017, which both concluded that an inscription on the list of World Heritage in danger would be the best way forward for the protection and recovery of the OUV of the property. However, following intense debates at each session, the property was not inscribed on the list of World Heritage in danger so far. A report on the current state of conservation of the property was submitted by the state party on 31st of January this year. After careful review, the World Heritage Center and the advisory bodies consider that despite the positive measures taken by the state party, the recovery process is not currently at an adequate scale to deal with the major challenges that have arisen following the earthquake. Worryingly, there is also a lack of evidence to support the work undertaken so far, which often doesn't respect the distinctive traditional structures, materials, and local practices. All of this is impacting adversely on the OUV of the property. Therefore, and in accordance with paragraph 179 of the operational guidelines, it is clear that the property is currently facing considerable ascertained threats, confirmed by both the monitoring missions and by field visits of the UNESCO office in Kathmandu. Despite laudable efforts, there is no doubt that the scale and the scope of the disaster and the response required go well beyond the capacities and the resources of the Department of Archaeology of Nepal. The World Heritage Center and the advisory bodies consider, therefore, that inscribing the property on the list of World Heritage in danger will ensure that immediate measures can be taken to focus on recovery projects that sustain the attributes of OUV, particularly the distinctive building structures and materials, in order to avoid problematic reconstruction and conservation activities that threaten the authenticity and integrity of the property. Regarding the advisory mission encouraged by the committee in 2017, the state party had proposed to invite the joint World Heritage Center ICOMOS-ICROM advisory mission between mid-September and mid-October this year. Finally, a debriefing meeting was held with the permanent delegation of Nepal to UNESCO ahead of the session on 24th of May last to express the process and in preparing the working document to the committee. Madam Chairperson, dear committee members, the draft decision 42-7B12 can be found in working document 42-7B on page 24 of both language versions. With your permission, Madam Chairperson, ICOMOS will now provide further comments on this property. The state party representative is also present in the room. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. ICOMOS acknowledges the state party's strong commitment to the recovery of this property following the earthquake and the work that has so far been undertaken as set out in its State of Conservation report. But we also note that the detailed recommendations of the two reactors is being faced in dealing with the scope and scale of the impacts of the earthquake appear to reflect the lack of adequate planning and coordination, as well as a lack of capacity to undertake projects in a fully systematic way, including documentation, research, and analysis to underpin decisions. Such plans could also clearly set out how recovery might balance the needs of the fabric of the property with the social and economic needs of communities, so that support from donors could benefit both. Meanwhile, the uncontrolled work that is being undertaken is impacting on the outstanding universal value of the property, as is the deterioration from lack of attention, and this is leading to a significant loss of traditional fabric. In ICOMOS's view, the property is in danger through the resulting loss of attributes and for the potential for further irreversible loss, which would impact adversely on its integrity and authenticity. We appreciate that the issue of danger listing has been considered by the committee several times since the earthquake and was not supported, as assurances were given by the state party that recovery work was being undertaken that could reverse damage and decay. In ICOMOS's view, we are now in a position just over 3 years after the earthquake where we have not reached a stable position, with the immediate actions having been taken and with the long-term recovery plan underway. ICOMOS considers that the property clearly satisfies the conditions of danger listing, and its inclusion on the list should not be seen as a criticism of the heroic efforts of the state party, but rather as a means of gathering the necessary support to help the state party with the enormity of the task that it faces. It would be ideal if Kathmandu Valley could add to the current momentum to overcome the negative perceptions of danger listing and demonstrate the benefits that it might bring. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Is there any comments or question or inquiries? China, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Regarding the draft decision 42-7B.12 on the Kathmandu Valley, the state party Nepal has been carrying out conservation, reconstruction, restoration, and rehabilitation works on the monuments damaged and destroyed by the 2015 earthquake. We understand that the substantive work has been carried out during the past 3 years in a well-coordinated manner among related agencies, including local governments and community. More than 70 monuments have been reconstructed within the protected monument zone. Some projects have received bilateral assistance. The Joint World Heritage Center ICMOS-ICRAM Reactive Monitoring Mission have already visited Nepal twice in October 2015 and March 2017. A third one was the invitation for the third one was extended, but due to conflict of scheduling was not unable to be carried out at this stage. This shows Nepal's commitment to fulfill its obligation as decided by the committee. Nepal is ready to receive an advisory mission soon before the end of the year, which will allow this mission and the World Heritage Center to prepare a report and review the progress. The committee may kindly also take note that the international community and other state parties, including Japan, China, are also engaged directly in reconstruction. The government of Nepal has developed the guideline and put necessary measures in place to maintain the outstanding universal value of the World Heritage property while carrying out conservation and reconstruction work, including the quality material. Progress has so far remained satisfactory, and the government has expressed its commitment to ensure the quality of all works. Subsequently, the committee may take appropriate decision after considering the report of the advisory mission during the 43rd session of the committee next year. In view of the above, the state party in Nepal should be allowed. We think the state party in Nepal should be allowed to continue to implementation of its reconstruction and conservation plan related to the World Heritage property. China would therefore like to propose an amendment to the draft decision for consideration by the committee today. Amendments are particularly related to paragraph 11 and 12 of the draft decision contained in the document, WHC/18/42.com/7B. Since the delegation of Nepal, led by the Secretary of Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation, is in the room, we propose that they should be given an opportunity to speak before the committee today to report on the current state of conservation, reconstruction, restoration, and rehabilitation works. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to Bahrain, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Actually, we agree with Honorable Representative of China, and would like to thank and commend the strong commitment of the State Party of Nepal and the work that it has undertaken so far for the recovery of the damaged components and their attempts to safeguard the property in view of the devastating effect of the disaster they have just experienced. We also recognize that the pace of the recovery work emphasizes the need for the improvement in the management of the needed works and for building capacity of the professionals and technical practitioners. Thus, we urge the international community to provide the needed support to the state party. However, we would like also to point out that the international community should also appreciate that under such severe circumstances and conditions and the consequences of either a natural disaster like this one or post-conflict results, the devastation that the state party usually experience is far more even than in seriousness, is far more in humanitarian as well, and more than the actual physical and the safeguarding of the heritage alone. We have to remember that this is a living place and there are people who are affected, and whether the pace is not quick enough or whether there are unplanned or unjustified intervention from the local community, this should be appreciated and should be considered as temporary measures for them to continue living, because they can't just sit around and wait for the international community to come and tell them how to implement the sometimes very complex and difficult rules and regulations related to the conservation. And therefore, I think there is a lot of responsibility on the international community, A, to support, and B, to understand the difficult situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now I give the floor to Tanzania.
Thank you, Chair. Tanzania would want to intervene basing on 3 pillars. One pillar is the factors that are affecting the property, which I will not read them. The second pillar is out of the analysis of the advisory bodies, where we note that there is a laudable work undertaken which has a very slow pace. The quality of the work is very poor. There is a continuing serious deterioration of properties, architectural and town planning coherence that erodes the integrity and authenticity. There is a lack of adequate control or coordination, and there is no capacity to undertake necessary documentation, research, and analysis that should underpin all recovery work. That is on one hand. On the other hand, they are saying, the advisory bodies are saying, considers that the potential and sustained threats to the outstanding universal value of the property are so considerable that the recovery process needs to be made more effective, and that the scale and the scope of the disaster and the response required go well beyond the capacity and the resources of the state party. The third party, they are making a conclusion saying, considering the above, it considers now inscribing the property on the list of World Heritage in danger so as to ensure that immediate measures can be taken to focus recovery on projects that sustain the attributes of outstanding universal value, particularly the distinctive building structures and the materials, in order to avoid the construction and the conservation that is problematic and damaging to the authenticity. If this equation is right, we see 3 things. It means if that work is done through the danger list, there is no sustainability because it is neither locally engineered nor locally designed. Second, danger listing then is a magical solution that when applied to property, you get results very quickly. Thirdly, the danger listing is a perfect and easy solution to challenges that face World Heritage properties. The Tanzania delegation thinks that is not a right solution. It's not the right even equation, because what we see, sites on World Heritage in danger have been there for many years. So it's not an easy solution, it's not even a good solution. Thirdly, we see state parties lobbying not to be put on the list in danger. So that also confirms that putting danger list is also not a very good phenomenon. If that is the case, Tanzania would ask, why don't we go with the operation guidelines paragraph 183 to 189, where discussions are at a wider angle, whereby consultation is a very important tool. In that operation guidelines, and I would ask legal advice why we are not using that process. Because that process is inclusive, it allows for consultation, it identifies the corrective measures that have to be taken, it allows to come up with the desired state of conservation for removal before we even put the site on the danger list. Because what we are doing, we are putting the committee into a situation that is not really entertaining. Thank you, Chair. I submit.
Thank you very much. Now, I give the floor to Uganda.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Uganda has learned that the state party has made progress on the reconstruction and rehabilitation work since the 41st session of the World Heritage Committee. Conservation and rehabilitation works of 60 monuments have been completed to date, and 13 more will be completed by mid-July 2018. The state party has shown its commitment to reinstate all the cultural property of Kathmandu Valley by undertaking necessary measures for ensuring quality work on the heritage property. While appreciating the efforts made by the state party in the conservation and rehabilitation of the property, the progress made so far should be considered satisfactory in view of the damage caused by a natural disaster, which certainly is not man-made. It should also be taken into account that the state party now has a local government in place after a long gap, along with a stable government which will make things move smoothly. We therefore request the committee to allow the state party to continue to work on their reconstruction process, and we do recommend that the World Heritage Center sends an advisory mission to Nepal before the end of 2018 to review the progress. Uganda supports the draft amendment proposed by China. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to Koba, please.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Deseo primero agradecer la información, también agradecer la claridad de algunos de los oradores que me han precedido, que permitirán que mi intervención sea más directa y más clara. También deseo agradecer los esfuerzos y reconocer los esfuerzos del Estado parte y también los esfuerzos en el marco regional que se han venido desarrollando para ayudar y para cooperar con esta situación. Los que vivimos en países que han sido azotados por catástrofes naturales como los terremotos o como los huracanes, sabemos lo complejo y sobre todo cuando somos países en desarrollo, comprendemos lo complejo que es la recuperación de un país que puede tardar un año o más. Sobre todo en un país como Nepal que fue azotado por 2 terremotos. Estamos focalizándonos solamente en un terremoto que fue el que tuvo la afectación a los sitios, pero fue un país azotado por 2 terremotos. Cuando un país es azotado por 2 terremotos, las cuestiones prioritarias también se concentran en una primera etapa en la salud, en la educación, en la higienización. Entonces tenemos que comprender que es muy complejo para un país en desarrollo y que en épocas muy tempranas luego del terremoto movilizó para salvaguardar 115 lugares históricos que habían sido afectados. Todo ello también me hace preguntarnos qué hemos hecho en el plan, a la raíz de la implementación del plan de acción de la UNESCO para la protección de la cultura y el patrimonio en caso de conflicto armado y situaciones de catástrofes antes de llegar a la lista en peligro. Entonces, en primer lugar, si el Estado nos dice que puede avanzar, que nos constatamos que ha avanzado, ¿por qué tener que ya como una medida definitiva inscribirlo en la lista en peligro? El colega de Tanzania decía algo y es que la vida nos ha demostrado que sitios con 10 años en la lista en peligro no han podido resolver sus situaciones. Por tanto, la lista en peligro no es una garantía de que se puedan resolver los problemas de manera inminente y de manera inmediata. Recordaba yo que hace muchos años la UNESCO, y no tanto, también lanzaba campañas. Tenemos Unidos por el Patrimonio, tenemos el plan de acción de la UNESCO, la resolución 2347 de Naciones Unidas, y sin embargo vamos directamente a la inscripción en la lista en peligro. Creo que los órganos y que todos de manera general tenemos que reflexionar más en el enfoque y en la afectación sistémica que tiene un país que es el máximo interesado en proteger su patrimonio. No son los órganos, no es el centro, no somos los miembros del comité. El Estado parte es el principal y el más beneficiario y el más interesado en proteger su patrimonio. Por ello, consideramos que tenemos que tener confianza, tenemos que buscar otras alternativas también para ayudar, para cooperar. Vemos que se han priorizado un grupo de proyectos de colaboración internacional a partir de fondos de terceros, pero es muy osado venir y decir aquí que el país no tiene capacidad, que el país no ha mostrado suficientes condiciones para solventar esta situación, cuando no hemos explotado todas las acciones. Y quiero hacer una pregunta específica a la Secretaría. Quisiera saber si se han agotado todas las medidas previstas en el Plan de Acción para la Protección del Patrimonio y la Cultura, en el que están implicados todas las convenciones para la salvaguardia en casos de conflicto armado y situaciones de catástrofe. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to Brazil, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Brazil understands that the inscription of a site on the list of World Heritage in Danger may serve the purpose of calling international attention to the need of mobilizing resources and extending cooperation, including capacity building, to the country concerned. The cases we analyzed yesterday of Mali and Iraq, among others, provide us good examples in this sense. The cases we analyzed yesterday involved inscription due to man-made damage caused to the heritage sites in situations of conflict, and we are glad to recognize that there is great mobilization regarding the protection of heritage in the context of armed conflicts. The initiative launched by the DG of UNESCO, Reviving the Spirit of Mosul, is a good example of the organization sensibility when it comes to sites in conflict areas. In the case we are now analyzing, we are aware that the damage at the Kathmandu Valley was caused by a natural disaster and not a deliberate man-made action. It is our understanding that the country mostly needs financial and technical assistance and capacity building. The Brazilian delegation is not very sure that inscribing this site on the list in danger will be a way to assure more resources. We are now examining a country with very limited resources and for which tourism to Kathmandu Valley represents a very important source of revenue and job creation for its population. We should pose ourselves the question whether the inscription proposed would have the effect of further reducing the touristic inflow to the country, additionally affecting its economy. Brazil believes that rather than being enlisted as a World Heritage Site in danger, Kathmandu Valley needs a comprehensive strategy of international cooperation within the framework of the 1972 Convention to cope with the damage involuntarily caused to one of its most important tourist attractions. And I would like to recall my intervention on the opening of this session to the need of having a permanent strategy to help countries in the case of natural disasters. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now I give the floor to the representative of Azerbaijan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. After the careful study of the draft decision regarding the Kathmandu Valley property and the state of conservation report provided to World Heritage Center, we could honestly say that the state party have done a lot of work for the preservation of all 7 sites, parts of one World Heritage property. The pictures of the state of conservation report demonstrate the undertaken preservation works at the site. Some of them are already completed, and other ones are under the conservation and rehabilitation. The Recovery Master Plan was prepared and submitted to the World Heritage Center through the mission in 2015. We had a wish to evaluate this master plan too. Unfortunately, couldn't find the online version. The government of Nepal covers all expenses for rehabilitation of this World Heritage Site. At the same time, state party and the relevant state institution invited all levels of governmental and non-governmental, as well as national and international communities to support Nepal in this post-earthquake rehabilitation process. We could say that the most items of the draft decision were implemented and are under the implementation. Unfortunately, the advisory body's mission to the property couldn't be realized in this year. In conclusion, our suggestion is postpone the decision to inscribe the site in the World Heritage List in danger and return back to this issue after the advisory body's missions and the evaluation of all undertaken works and recovery master plan and its implementation. For more detailed understanding of the current situation as the World Heritage property concerned, we would like to have more information about factors affecting the properties such as housing, ground, underground, and air transport infrastructure in future mission report. Thanks for attention.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to Zimbabwe, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The situation between 2015, when the earthquake happened, and now is very different. The 39th session of the committee did not put this property on the World Heritage in Danger listing, and that's when we should have done that. The situation has improved greatly, and right now, fellow members of the committee, we are too late. There has been great improvement in terms of the work that the state party has done. We commend the efforts of the state party. We also commend the governments that have been offering international assistance to the state party. We also would like to ask the center to address the issue of capacity, and that the center works. I think Brazil talked about the comprehensive strategy for boosting capacity of the state party in this way. I think it is important that we reward and join the efforts of the state party rather than saying that what they are doing is not, as long as we are not involved, it is not acceptable. We would ask for goodwill and dialogue between the center, the state party, the advisory bodies. And we hope that this will be achieved by the advisory and reactive mission that will be sent this year. I think it's important that a mission goes this year and we put this matter to rest by coming up with a clear program and a clear plan of working together to restore this magnificent site. I think it's unfortunate when we create the impression that help will only come when one is listed on the endanger list. we have evidence that yes, sometimes, but in other times it does not come. We therefore support the draft decision proposed by China for not putting this property on the endangered list, and really emphasize to my colleagues, we missed the boat in 39th session.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to Spain, please. Spain.
Muchas gracias, señora presidenta. Queremos también reconocer los grandes esfuerzos que ha hecho el Estado signatario para proteger este magnífico sitio tras la catástrofe y, sobre todo, al haber escuchado ese informe en el que nos señala las múltiples amenazas probadas que están acechando en este sitio. Las necesidades son amplias y el Estado parte está trabajando con la comunidad y, como acaba de decir la embajadora de Zimbabue, tiene que trabajarse en la línea de reforzar las capacidades locales y en coordinación con el Centro del Patrimonio y los órganos de evaluación. Creo también que tenemos en nuestras líneas directrices tenemos un procedimiento de diálogo. Es cierto que ha habido varias misiones y que va a haber una después de este comité, y que esta misión puede permitirnos analizar mejor si debemos seguir en esa línea o no, o si con ese diálogo que permiten o que está enmarcado en las directrices de la Convención podemos seguir bien en la línea de la colaboración y con el apoyo que están dando los distintos donantes a las autoridades de Nepal, o si no va a ser necesario inscribir o no en la lista de bienes en peligro. Por lo tanto, España lo único que querría poder es solicitar la intervención del Estado parte, porque dentro de la propuesta que ha sido circulada con enmiendas, sí que nos interesaría saber por qué no quieren aceptar un mecanismo de coordinación internacional científico, si eso puede contribuir o no, siempre teniendo en cuenta que no disminuye en ningún caso el trabajo que están haciendo las autoridades locales. Y también nos gustaría tener la oportunidad, por tanto, de escuchar las explicaciones de las autoridades de Nepal, de los trabajos que están haciendo y cómo cuentan entrar en esa colaboración con el Centro de Patrimonio y con los organismos de evaluación. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you very much. And now I give the floor to Tunisia, please.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Je voudrais, dans le cadre de notre intervention sur le cas de la vallée de Kathmandu, souligner que nous sommes devant un cas interpellant, puisqu'il pose une triangulation pour le moins critique entre le patrimoine et sa protection, les défis et les nécessités du développement économique, mais également les catastrophes naturelles avec leur lot d'irrésistibilité et d'imprévisibilité. La Tunisie souhaite tout d'abord souligner les efforts dans les conditions qui sont les siennes de l'État partie pour essayer d'améliorer, de ramener le site vers ses valeurs qui lui ont permis d'être inscrit sur la liste du patrimoine mondial. Je souhaite également, au nom de la Tunisie, souligner que cela incombe non seulement à l'État partie, au comité et à l'UNESCO et à l'ensemble de son système, qu'il soit consultatif ou décisionnel, mais également à la communauté internationale dans sa globalité. C'est une question qui nous interpelle tous. La question de ramener le site à sa valeur ou la valeur dans laquelle il a été constaté et inscrit sur la liste du patrimoine mondial. Il y a évidemment un élément positif qui se profile, c'est celui d'envisager une visite sur le terrain durant l'année prochaine. Et il me paraît sage d'attendre les conclusions de cette visite pour en déduire une quelconque décision d'inscription ou de maintien. C'est pour cela que la Tunisie, qui est l'un des pays qui ont introduit le projet d'amendement, souhaite que le comité l'adopte en l'état et que par là même, il sera certainement fort utile et éclairant d'écouter l'État partie sur cette question. Merci.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to Hungary.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Echoing what has been raised by several member states, Cuba and Brazil, Hungary found it important to give special attention and support to sites suffered from natural disasters. Hungary acknowledges the work by the state party Nepal and truly believes that the conservation work is being carried out in a satisfactory manner. Therefore, Hungary supports adopting the decision as proposed by China. Taking into consideration the serious damage caused by the disasters, Hungary also found it necessary that the state party welcomes an advisory mission already this year, so this important case can be further discussed on the 43rd session of the committee. Hungary proposes this date to be included in the paragraph 12 of the decision in order to further support the state party in its effort.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to Australia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Australia also applauds, with all of the other members of the committee, the efforts of Nepal to repair and recover from the earthquake damage. We recognise the task is enormous and that this damage is not just within the World Heritage property but right across the valley. We also note that the social and economic recovery of the people of Nepal is inextricably linked to the successive efforts to recover cultural properties and the OUV of the World Heritage Site. We urge the State Party to take note of and to implement the recommendations of the draft decisions, but we also fully recognise that the State Party cannot complete the tasks required without the assistance of the international community. We consider that the damage of the earthquake and the subsequent deterioration of the architecture and the historic urban landscape means that the potential and ascertained threats to the OUV of the property are significant and require urgent action, and that the property meets the conditions for inclusion on the list of the World Heritage in Danger. However, given the State Party will invite an advisory mission before the end of the year, provide a progress report to the committee in 2019, Australia supports an amendment to the draft decision that will see the World Heritage Committee consider, in the absence of substantial progress in relation to the recommendations in the decision, the possible inscription of Kathmandu on the World Heritage List of Danger in 2019. We've submitted an amendment to this effect. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to Indonesia, please. Indonesia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Echoing other members of the committee, Indonesia is of the view that Kathmandu Valley should be considered not to be put into World Heritage List in danger at this point. The fact that the damage was caused by natural disaster should serve as a justification that it will take the state party a considerable amount of time to retain the OUV of the site into its original state. Taking note that the purpose of this committee is to help find solution and assistance to the affected state party, we would like to echo the suggestions stated by the delegation of Brazil for us to work together in assisting Nepal to help saving this World Heritage Site. We are assured that the government of Nepal is ready with a comprehensive plan to restore this site, and with the chair's permission, as suggested in the beginning of this discussion by China, we think it is appropriate to invite the representative of Nepal to give explanation on the current state of this site and future restoration plan at this forum. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to the State Party of Nepal to answer all the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The government of Nepal has been incessantly working for the conservation, reconstruction and rehabilitation of all damaged cultural heritage following the devastating earthquake of 2015. The aid memoir circulated to all the members of the committees outlined the conservation, reconstruction and rehabilitation works that are ongoing. Nepal welcomed to joint reactive monitoring missions since the devastating earthquake. Feedback from them has been very useful to streamlining and furthering our work. In the meantime, we would like to bring to your kind attention that the state party had invited joint advisory mission in April. However, that did not take place. We have proposed new date to welcome the advisory mission between mid-September to mid-October 2018. We are waiting for the response from the World Heritage Center. Nevertheless, I would like to mention some of our major achievements made during last 3 years. The government of Nepal has adopted a 6-year plan of Kathmandu Valley World Heritage property. It has also instituted a cultural heritage information management system which has already begun to work of regarding all heritage in Kathmandu Valley as well maintaining the records of all ongoing conservation, reconstruction and rehabilitation activities including its previous all historical records. In the meantime, Department of Archaeology has already completed the conservation, rehabilitation and reconstruction of 70 monuments within Kathmandu Valley World Heritage property. 13 monuments are in line of completion within mid-July. And 28 monuments are ongoing, which will be completed within a year. The Department of Archaeology is now fully equipped with more than 100 engineers, architects, and other supporting staff. The Department of Archaeology has been continuing the series of required technical training of various stakeholders. These training activities are done in close coordination with the UNESCO, World Heritage Center, ECOMOS, ECROM, and the UNESCO office in Kathmandu. In Nepal, all government procurements are governed by the Procurement Act. Nevertheless, following the comments of the joint reactive monitoring missions, the Department of Archaeology, Government of Nepal has worked to develop a tender system that would allow only those contractors who meet eligibility criteria of maintaining OUV to be shortlisted so that expediency is achieved in contracting out the required tasks. Nepal has successfully completed democratic, local, provincial and federal level elections very recently. Accordingly, we know how stable government. This paves way for effective commitment from the government at all levels with local communities' participation, which will further expedite the process of conservation, reconstruction and rehabilitation of the cultural heritage. Government of Nepal has developed coordination mechanism at the level of Minister and the Secretary of Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation to coordinate with all stakeholders. We highly appreciate the understanding and cooperation of the committee members regarding our commitment and work, and also the Government of Nepal highly appreciate the continuous support of international community in this regard and look forward for its continuity. In view of the achievements made so far and our efforts and commitment to the case, the Government of Nepal humbly requests to this Honorable Committee to allow the State Party, Nepal, to move forward with conservation, reconstruction and rehabilitation activities with the support of UNESCO and international community, our development partners, without placing Kathmandu Valley World Heritage property in danger list. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now I'll give the floor to the rapporteur to give us the amendments, and we'll leave it for you, maybe because we have now only 10 minutes to discuss it. And I propose that we will adopt it after lunch. So you'll see now the draft with the amendments, and we can discuss up to 1 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. As it has emerged during the discussion, we have received several amendments for this item. We have received amendments from Brazil, China, Cuba, Guatemala, United Republic of Tanzania, Uganda, Zimbabwe, and if I understood, the distinguished delegate of Tunisia also wishes to be added to the list of co-sponsors. We have also received amendments from Australia and a slight amendment on the amendment proposed by the group of countries by Hungary. So as you know, the original decision is for including this property on the list of World Heritage in danger, and the proposal is not to include this property on the list of World Heritage in danger, so all the paragraphs should be read in that sense. So I will now proceed to read out the amendments. So paragraph 1 would remain unchanged, paragraph 2 as well, and then paragraph 3 has a slight amendment so that it would read, acknowledges the strong commitment of the state party and the work that it has undertaken for the recovery of the property, particularly its capacity building efforts, as well as the efforts of international agencies, and the 6-year plan for the recovery of the monuments damaged by the earthquake. Then paragraph 4 is also slightly amended by replacing some parts at the end, so that now it would read, also acknowledges the scale and scope of the disaster as described in the reports of the Joint World Heritage Center ICOMOS-ICROM reactive monitoring missions to the property of October 2015 and March 2017, the laudable work undertaken, and the continuing serious deterioration of the property's architectural and town planning coherence resulting from the immediate impacts of the earthquakes. Then for paragraph 5, we have two different proposals. The proposal of the group of countries of Brazil, China, Cuba, Guatemala, and so on would be an additional, an alternative redrafting of paragraph 5, which would read, recognizes that the pace of recovery and the damaging restoration of work on some monuments appears to reflect the current need for improvement in management capacity across the property to undertake the necessary documentation, research, and analysis that should underpin all recovery work. But we have received an amendment from the delegation of Australia, who is proposing to retain some parts of the original paragraph 5, so that it would read, expresses concern that the continuing serious deterioration of the property's architectural and town planning coherence, which results not only from the immediate impacts of the earthquakes, but worryingly also from some of the work undertaken during the subsequent recovery process, is eroding the property's integrity and authenticity. Then, for paragraph 6, we also have two different proposals. Australia is proposing to keep the original paragraph, but Brazil, China, Cuba, and the rest of the countries' proposal is to revert it slightly so that it would read, request that the recommendations of the October 2015 and March 2017 missions be systematically carried out, fully followed and implemented in a best way by the state party. And just to be very sure on this point, so the delegation of Australia is suggesting that we keep the original, which would read, regrets that the recommendations of the October 2015 and March 2017 missions have not been the rapporteur apologizes, have not been systematically and fully followed and implemented by the state party. Yes. And then for paragraph 7, we have a proposal of deletion. And so the former paragraph 8 would now become paragraph 7. And it has a slight amendment, so now it would read, encourages the state party to initiate, with technical support from the World Heritage Center and the advisory bodies, to assist the state party with developing structures to coordinate and guide the recovery of the property and its outstanding universal value. And then the former paragraph 9 would now be paragraph 8, and it has some amendments at the end, so now it would read, also considers that the potential and the certain threats to the OUV of the property are so considerable that the recovery process needs to be made more effective, and that the scale and scope of the disaster and the response required goes well beyond the capacity and resources of the Department of Archaeology of Nepal, and also considers that much greater input, collaboration, and coordination of support from the international community could likely help to achieve this shift. Then the former paragraph 10 is proposed for deletion, as well as the former paragraph 11, which would have put this property on the list of World Heritage in danger, and subsequently the former paragraph 12 that talks about the desired state of conservation report is also proposed for deletion. And then we have a new paragraph 9, which would read, request the state party to fully commit to use appropriate methods and materials in recovery works. And then we have a new proposed paragraph 10, which would read, reiterates its request that the state party integrate the RMP within an overall socio-economic revitalization program for urban communities, encourage residents and local business to engage in the recovery process and ensure that it delivers wide-ranging social and economic benefits. Madam Chair, if I may have a suggestion on this paragraph, since this is the first time that we see this abbreviation in this decision, RMP, I suggest that we write out recovery master plan, and then we put, yes, and then we put the abbreviation into brackets. Thank you very much. So going on, the former paragraph 13 would now become paragraph 11. And here again, we have a counter-proposal from Australia. So the proposal for amended paragraph would read, calls upon the international community to support the state party's urgent recovery work through financial, technical, or expert assistance. And Australia is suggesting to keep the original, which would include the part that's stricken out so that it would read, including support for local communities in terms of their housing and social needs. Then we have a proposal for a new paragraph 12 with a slight amendment by Hungary at the end, so that it would read, further request the state party to invite a joint World Heritage Center ICOMOS-ICROM advisory mission to ascertain the progress accomplished by the state party to assist in the implementation of the 6-year RMP, as well as to give guidance on reviewing it, and recommends that this mission take place by the end of 2018. Madam Chair, if again I may have a slight suggestion on this paragraph, instead of requesting, I would like to propose, suggest, or strongly suggest, because an advisory mission cannot be requested from the state party because it has to be invited by the state party. Thank you. Yes.
Kuba,
Thank
please.
you very much.
You have point of order.
Sí, gracias, señora presidenta. Es una resolución compleja por la cantidad de enmiendas que se han ido presentando. Yo creo que debemos definir cuál va a ser el procedimiento que vamos a seguir. Si empezamos a cambiar o a sugerir de un párrafo a otro, va a ser muy complejo seguirlo. Yo dejaría en sus manos la propuesta de ir párrafo por párrafo o que los proponentes se pusieran de acuerdo en limpiar un poco el texto, porque ya estamos muy próximos a la 1 y va a ser bien difícil seguir la negociación como lo hemos hecho con otros proyectos de menos complejidad. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. I agree. I think it is not easy. It's not easy, and it will take time. Do you want to do it here in our meeting in the plenary, or do you like to have like a group to do the changes and then come back to us? Do you think group or here? Spain, please, Spain.
Muchas gracias. Efectivamente es muy complejo, pero como estamos intentando ver los dos textos que nos han sido presentados, a mí me está resultando útil ver toda la lectura del texto. Sería bueno que nos circularan los dos textos, que nos fuéramos a comer para poder leerlos y luego, como sugiere la delegada de Cuba, ir párrafo por párrafo para que viéramos cuál es la correlación entre unos u otros, porque la elección de un párrafo u otro va a tener un impacto en la decisión global del mismo. Muchísimas gracias.
So, thank you very much. So, according to your proposal, we will distribute the text with the amendment, and then you look at it during the lunchtime, and then we come back, and then we can just go, as Kuba said, one paragraph by one paragraph. We go through it, and then we can, at the plenary. Okay? So, thank you very much, and maybe we'll see you at 3 o'clock. And yeah, maybe. Yeah, we will distribute the text now. Thank you very much.
Yes, a few announcements for the side events of today. During lunchtime, you have the historic urban landscape approach in rethinking urban management, organized by the World Heritage Center in Room Hawar. You have Sites of Memory, organized by ICOMOS in Room Manama in the AB space. And 210, you have the contributions of ICROM and its Sharjah Regional Office to the conservation of cultural and world heritage. That is again in the AB space Manama room. And if you see the next slide, this is our special fundraising event. It's taking place tonight, and you are all kindly invited to make your donations and get your passes for this very, very special event just outside the room and also next to the registration space. Thank you very much. And you can see at the next slide, on the next slide, you can see the group that's going to perform. There would be transport and the reception under the event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Adopted with the committee debates and achieved between the concerned
practices for position. Thank you very much.
And the vote be hands
and by
there's a proposal from Australia.
Paragraph 1, you agree. Paragraph 2 also.
We agree with the
missions are
implementado. Gracias.
La propuesta que ha hecho Cuba no quiere dejar
was 15 full
de la
is there any yes or no? No. I'll give the floor now to
Cuba.
Sí.
No pueden salir de que
estamos diciendo que de la mayor razón posible.
Clarification. The reason I propose this
around these
and stick with read it out. So 15 systematic. Yes. So now we have slightly amended by
paragraph. Please, you have the floor.
Cometer una serie de autoridades locales y como
they deserve it.
Give us the
sí, y correspondía el bien. El embajador tenga
nacionales con una
intention of interrupting
mechanism. The inscription we the letters.
Thank you very much.
Steering scientific
doesn't
leave this shift. So
del sitio. Y yo creo que en ese caso habría que hablar de conservar el valor universal del sitio.
Thank you.
Hemos aprobado parcialmente, pero hemos adoptado ahora en un párrafo una decisión que es básica para toda la decisión que está adoptando el comité. Si el sitio no pasa a ser inscrito en la lista en peligro y, por tanto, estamos considerando que no ha perdido su valor universal excepcional, deberíamos cambiar el párrafo 7. Gracias.
Thank you. Spain, please.
Muchas gracias. Respecto al procedimiento, la señora presidenta tiene toda la razón de que el párrafo ya ha sido aprobado. Porque de esa manera podemos proceder a aprobarlo y evitar este tipo de problemas que ocurren de las decisiones que aprobamos luego globalmente. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you. But, approve something and we go back and think about it again. Please, we have to be very consistent. Please. Now, both.
Et qu'ici, il s'agit d'une question de principe et d'un précédent qui pourrait peut-être être un peu dangereux pour quel que soit l'autre.
Cuba, please.
Sí, gracias, señora presidenta. Yo entiendo el sentido de la observación de que el párrafo, de hecho habíamos levantado el cartel para ese párrafo, pero hasta tanto la decisión no se aprueba, es posible ir viendo, porque de hecho procesalmente se ve párrafo por párrafo, pero después se vuelve al final y se ve toda la decisión. Lo que pasa es que en esta sesión no lo hemos estado haciendo así, pero hasta que no se aprueba, hasta que no se apruebe finalmente la decisión, a poder regresar a cualquier otra cuestión, sobre todo si está relacionada con un párrafo final. Y habíamos pedido la palabra, pero preferimos esperar al final. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. But meeting, we cannot approve something and go back and just remove it. We cannot. It is impossible. Approve means that we agreed. We cannot do like this, please. It's according to the rules and according to my power, according to Article 14. We will follow and we will continue, and I will not permit that, accept that we are wasting the...
I just wish to, after the comments of the distinguished delegate of Bosnia and others, I would just like to draw the attention of, is also the group of countries who proposed that this site would not be inscribed on the list of World Heritage in danger, and in this sense, it was my assumption that all the paragraphs preceding the deletion of paragraph 11 would go towards the sense that that would be what we adopt, go back on paragraph 7 or not. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, Cuba.
Hacer perder tiempo, creo que hemos tratado de contribuir en los debates ni se trata de un problema de capricho ni de malestar personal. Se trata de que en el momento en que lo pedimos, usted estaba avanzando. Y cuando un Estado hace una pregunta a la asesoría legal, también debe respondérselo. Les reitero, no es nuestra intención y nos parece que presumir que estamos intentando que el comité y usted pierda tiempo no es el sentido de nuestra intervención. Por eso nosotros pedimos una consulta a la asesoría legal, pero también le dije que no queríamos ir en contra del consenso de la sala, pero sí es nuestro derecho, asesoría legal, que no ha sido respondida. Muchas gracias.
You are wasting our time. This is not the first time. You asked from the beginning to delete number 7. We delete it. I have the right to rule this session. Don't waste our time, please. Please continue.
Thank you. So we were at former paragraph 12, which was also proposed for deletion. Thank you.
7 al que nosotros nos referíamos. No nos referíamos al párrafo suprimido, nos referíamos al párrafo que seguía ese párrafo. No hablábamos al párrafo 8. Muchas gracias.
Is there any comments, other comments?
Okay, I'm going to repeat it because it seems there's a bit of confusion, but we have just adopted deleting paragraph 11, former paragraph 11, which would actually talk about drafting the desired state of conservation for the removal of the property from the list of World Heritage in danger. So subsequent, which would read, request the state party to fully commit to use appropriate methods and materials in recovery works. Thank you. Which would read, reiterates its request that the state party integrate the recovery master plan with the...
Is there any comments? Any objection? It is adopted.
Counter proposal from Australia to keep the original. So I will now read out the amended proposal. This proposal is to continue and include the rest, which would read, including support for local communities in terms of their housing and...
Consensus in the room is to take that final line out. We're happy with that, but we do think it's an important line, and we'd like to know why it was...
I agree with Australia. It is absolutely important and relevant to keep support. Thank you.
Thank you. Zimbabwe?
Yes.
Zimbabwe. Kuwait, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Is there? It seems to be...
Salut et je remercie le Royaume de Bahreïn d'avoir accueilli cette session et la Tunisie s'associe aux autres pays qui ont appuyé la proposition de l'Australie. Merci.
Thank you very much. Is there any objection?
Paragraph as it was without deleting the last part. Yes, now we can see it on the screen. Thank you. Suggest that the state party, I apologize, suggest the state party to invite a joint World Heritage Center ICOMOS-ICROM advisory mission Hungary to add to the end of this amendment, and recommends that this mission take place by the end of 2008.
Nothing. So it is so adopted.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And then we have the 2019, a report on the state of conservation of the property and the implementation of the above for examination by the World Heritage Committee at its 43rd session in 2019, with a view to considering...
Thank you. Thank you very much. China, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I was thinking heritage in danger somehow entails or presume our document seems to encourage. We would have no problem supporting Australia's view of requesting the state party